What's up, guys? This is Theo here, and welcome back to part 5 of CodeCademy JavaScript. We're in the fundamentals of JavaScript, the programming language of the web. So, if you're following along, we are now on Introduction to For Loops in JavaScript. So, for loops are one of the most commonly used bits of code. It's so powerful and so useful. So, I'm going to click on this lesson, reset the code here, and show you guys this has 13 lessons in it. So let's just try it out. So we want to console.log out 5 statements just to show sort of the do not repeat yourself principle and show you, why you'd use a for loop. So do that. 4, 5. Oh, sorry, we're going to do 1 to 5. Not reading the instructions correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me log this out. We do go what we want, but we also see took quite a bit of lines of code. Let's reset this, and now we can sort of look at our first for loop. So the way this works is it starts with 4 and then some parentheses. We initialize what's called a local variable, and this is always going to be set to sort of an integer or a point. In this case, we're calling it counter. We can call it whatever you want. And we're saying, okay, we want our loop to start at 1. Want it to run. So this is the initialization point. This is the duration, how long you want the loop to run. And this is called the incrementation phase. This is what happens after every iteration. So the way this works is this will come in here, and the JavaScript interpreter will say, okay, counter is now 1, so it's less than 6. All right, let's post increment this after this is run. So this is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then step 1. Step 2, step 3, step 4, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Once it finally reaches 6, it will not run this condition. So we're going to change for loop in the code. We'll print out 1 to 5 and use far less code. You can already see this is more efficient. Change 6 to 11, and we can see what we get. Now we should expect to see 1 to 10 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. Reset this code, and so this is going over the syntax some more. So this for loop starts off at 1 and will end at 10. Change the for loop such that it will start off at 5. So again, this is the initialization point. So you start at 5. Okay, and if you're confused what this is doing, this is resetting, or this is assigning rather, I to be equal to the current value of I plus 1 each time. So that's the same as saying I plus plus. Let's submit that. There we go. Reset this code, and we know this for loop counts from 1 to 10. Change this for loop such that it starts at 4. So this is the initialization. Change it to 4. Change it. Now change this for loop such that it counts up to and including 23. So we could say it's less than 24. Run your for loop to see 4 to 23. There we go. You could have also done it less than or equal to 23, just to show you guys that this would work as well. So 2 different ways of doing it. I'm going to reset this code. This code counts every number from 0 to 35. Make it start counting from 5. So we'll say start at 5. Stop the counter when it prints out 50. So I is stop the counting when it's less than 51. I guess we could do. Only count every 5th number. So we want it to increment by 5. So say I plus or equal to 5. And now let me run that. So now I get 5, 10, 15, 20, 5. So it's going to go up every time 5, and that's why it's going to print out 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Cool. Reset that code. And now make the computer start counting at 8. Okay. Keep it counting while I is less than 120. Okay. Count up by increments of 12. So say I plus or equal to 12. And there we go. See how it's working. Reset that code. And now we're going to count down. So change this code such that it starts counting from 10. Now it's going to count as long as I is greater than 1. So before it hits 0. And then we're going to decrement. So I minus minus. So subtract 1 from I every time. Didn't log 0 to the console. Okay. I is greater than or equal to 0. So now let's change that. There we go. And cool. Let's reset our code, and we're going to write our own loop. So what do we want to do? Write a for loop that gets the computer to count down from 0 to 100 until 0 by 5. So say for var I equals 100, I is greater than 0, I minus minus, and I minus equal to 5, and then we are just going to console.log I. Make sure not to print I. Let me see what I'm getting. Okay, there we go. So that's what we want, and sort of look at the syntax again: initialization, duration, decrementation or incrementation, and then the execution. So now we're going to look at arrays and how to loop through that, and make your own array called junk. Okay, so we say var junk. Array is just a data structure. Sort of think of like, a collection of items that we're storing for later lookup. And what do we want to say? We want to put 4 bits, 4 bits of data. So we say 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are going to be our strings of data inside of our array. And we're going to console.log junk, and we should be able to see the contents of our array in action. And there they are. Looks like third element in junk isn't a number. Oh, sorry. So let me just change this to 4. And looks like the third element in junk isn't a number. Oh, sorry, third element, not index. 3, and what is it saying? Put 4 bits of data in it, first 2 strings, then 2 numbers. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there we go. See the contents of our array right there. Cool. Let's move on. So now we can get our positions. Print out the 4th element in the array. So we can say console.log. Actually, let's just store it in a variable. So we say 4th element equals chunk data. Now we can access it by doing a bracket, and we can say we want the 4th element, so we can grab 3rd because arrays are index based. So now if we console.log the 4th element out, we should be able to see what we want. 31. Cool. Let's reset this code and change the elements in the cities array. You can put in as many elements as you like. Okay. So it looks like what we can do is we'll just change 1 to California, and we can change 1 to Chicago. We can change 1 to I don't know, Berlin, and we can change 1 to Buenos Aires. And let's run this. So we can see it's now looping through the cities.length, which is in total 4. So it's going to run 4 times. And this length property is smart because if this array changes, this is going to be dynamic as opposed to hard coding at 4. What if we change the length of the array? Then that might not always work. And so it's going to log out, I would like to visit, and then every time it's going to access the city's index array. So the first time it's going to say, I would like to visit city 0, and we know from a previous lesson, city 0 is California, then it'll go to Chicago, then Berlin, then Buenos Aires. Cool. So let's start our next lesson, and we have 1 more left. And so now we're going to create a new array called names. So we're going to store it with some names, and we're going to say Theo, John, Rick, James, and Stephen. Then what do we want to do? We want to print out a for loop. For I equals 0, I is less than names.length, I plus plus. And what do we want to do then? We want to console.log. I know someone called, say, names of I. And then, let's see if this works. So I know someone called Theo, John, Rick, James, Stephen. And yep, that works, guys. And so here's the conclusion. Best way to get better at programming is to use what you've learned to build something. Click save and submit code to finish. So cool, guys. That's it for that one. Next up, we're going to do search text for your name. Searching large blocks of text can be tedious, but with JavaScript, it's a breeze. And this project will show you how to search long blocks of text for important information, such as your name. So that's it for that lesson, guys. That was the 5th lesson. So we still have a bunch more to go. Hope you guys are enjoying the course. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. And as always, guys, appreciate the feedback. Please subscribe to the channel and support. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.